And Alex.
In the sexuality talk that you spoke about, that you gave in Greece, I feel like you talked a lot about soulmates and soulmate interaction and the feelings you can encounter. You said something. You said it's only in the fifth sphere of the spirit world that spirits begin to gain an awareness of the other half of themselves.
Yeah, the main reason why, Alex, is because from a soul awareness, I'm talking not just an intellectual awareness, because all of you have been told that this is the way it is. That's completely different than having soul awareness. For a soul awareness to develop, you have to reach a certain condition of love. And for the majority of people on the planet, there's a lot of issues between the genders, between the two halves, which mean that they've got to work through those conditions of love before they'll reach an awareness. Now, most of you have been avoiding those issues, right? So, and in fact, purposefully, many of you purposely, even I hear you say even, I'll work on myself first. So who are you talking about now? It's because I is both of you, not half of you. So when you say, I'm going to work on myself first and then I'll know, you're really basically proving right from the beginning that you don't understand the soul really yet. You don't see that it's going to require that you work on all of the blockages to the other half and the other half works on all the blockages to you. And your own half's awareness will, by the time you get to the fifth sphere, generally you become quite aware. But it still doesn't mean that you know everything, because you'd hardly know anything at that stage. It's just that you're now aware of all the things that stop you from getting together with your soulmate. You think of this, a person in the sixth dimension, which is perfected natural love, still is 30 dimensions away from a soul union. You follow? And the person in the sixth dimension often believes they know their soul, who their soulmate is, and they have a soulmate relationship, but they don't. Because a soulmate relationship can only really be developed with the reception of God's love. Most people in the sixth sphere of the spirit world don't believe that. So they remain separate. They're joined together, they're physically together frequently, most of the time in fact, but they still are not together at the soul level. There's a big difference between being together at the soul level and your development physically. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just in that talk, you also said that it's a process that can be begun on Earth, and that people don't.
Remember, you can be in the fifth sphere on Earth. You can be in the 30th. You can be in the 36th sphere on Earth, right? So you can develop these things on Earth, but it's going to take both halves doing it. So the likelihood of it happening on Earth is much more remote than the likelihood of you becoming at one with God while on Earth, as a half. Does that make sense?
Do you mean the soul union state is much more remote?
Yeah, well, it's much more. It's 30 or 29 dimensions removed. The at-one-ment state is 28 dimensions removed from the soul union state. So you can see that obviously, and the soul union state requires two people firstly becoming at one with God, and then both being motivated enough to actually develop the state of union with each other. So that requires a really strong use of both halves' will, if you like. Does that make sense? And the majority of people on Earth don't engage their will hardly at all, let alone have that intense amount of will to continue that development. It is possible that some of you may reach this union state while on Earth. Unlikely, because it's going to require the other half of you in the one state. But bearing in mind that once two of you are at one with God, you now can live forever on Earth if you wanted to, so then you'd have time to work through the other dimensional existences. Does that make sense? If you're at one with God, you can't decay, your body doesn't decay, it completely replicates itself, usually less than every 7 years. And as a result of that, you sustain, 20 to 25-year-old looking body and spirit body, and you can potentially live forever barring somebody harming you. And under those circumstances, many of you on earth could reach the union state. Does that make sense? The likelihood of it happening is a lot more remote than the likelihood of you as one half reaching the union state, because the likelihood of the other requires two halves reaching a state that is 30 dimensions removed from the union, the one with God state. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But you can become aware of the other half of yourself while on earth, even in the, beginning processes.
Well, I've just said you can even become at one with them in a union state. So the whole thing's possible. It just depends on will, use of will.
So even at this point, with my current degree of soul condition, if I have a desire for my soulmate, if I want to develop
But you don't
myself,
have a desire for your soulmate.
No, I realise there's a lot of blocks.
Yeah, you know, many of you think you have a desire when really you're just living in addiction, and that's not desire. That's, I want this from them, I want that, I want this, I want that in a relationship. Many of you feel that, you know, a need for your other half, that's not what it's like either, and so forth. You're going to have to deconstruct all of this. This is why, and deconstructing all of this requires growth in love, and this is why by the time you get to the stage where you're really starting to accept your soulmate, many of you will be in the fourth or fifth sphere, but still here on earth. But you'll be in that location, in that space, if you like, that condition of love. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah. Alex, I don't want to answer any more here because we need to move on. You know, it's like we're getting bogged down in a lot of personal questions here rather than covering important details.